Hello, welcome into European Masters. It's day 7, and I'm Mad Magical, joined in by the talented Trouble Inc., who got to witness quite some madness in yesterday's performance from Group A, where it was quite outstanding to see Gamers Origin take the #1 seed.
They were the clear favorites from the start. Yes, they stumbled upon a rock, they fell, but you know what? Like every little kid, you recollect yourself, you get up, you throw a little cry, and then you keep on going. They came back even stronger, and they got the first place. I don't think there was a surprise there.
Not at all. The surprising thing was the fact that BTXL came out of that day. First, they started 0-3 and then went 4-0 to make it out into the quarterfinals. Did you think that was going to happen going into that day?
Honestly, that is a hardcore no. The way BTXL showed up, the first people were like, what is this? Very scattered, no macro. There were TPs all over the place. There was no jungle support synergy. And we were kind of lost. BTXL coming in and we're like, who is this new team? Moving together, playing all kinds of different play styles. They came in to win and they proved it.
And that's the thing that overshadows Gamers Origin getting the #1 seed. It was BTXL just going crazy. They were able to find the drafts that worked for them very well. They figured out pretty much that, hey, if we play Graves and are able to play a good scaling composition, it worked with how we want to play, and it beat Gamer Legion, who were the ones that everyone was talking about being able to make it out of that group. They had looked pretty strong last week, but day 6, not nearly as powerful.
Don't you dare talk to me about the Graves, Magical. Don't talk to me about the Graves.
I knew how to trigger her there, but it's okay. So we already have that. We know what happened yesterday. We got to move forward. We got to look at what's going to happen today. Group C is a 3-way tie between Kick Neosurf, Movistar Riders, and Schalke 04 Evolution, where it is a fish eat fish world right there, where you don't know who's going to be the bigger fish at the end of the day.
Well, you can see that we have 3-way tie. Sure, my eyes are at them, I'm staring at them, and it's kind of like the meme where you look back at each other, you're like, you're not gonna pull the 3-0, are you? You're not gonna pull a BTXL, are you? We're not gonna go into tiebreakers, are we? Maybe not, but the first 3 teams colliding with each other is going to be epic.
Well, we're starting off the day, Team Singularity against Schalke 04 Evolution. Singularity, their tournament life is on the line. If they lose this first game, they will be knocked out. But even if they win it, there's going to be a hard road ahead of them because they have to also rely on the fact that Movistar Rider and Kick Neosurf fall short themselves. They need to hope for the miracle day of where they go 3-0 and everyone else goes 1-2.
Yeah, and I think the first game is going to be actually indicative of how the rest of the day is going to be. You know, Schalke starting in versus the quote-unquote weakest team from the groups, and Singularity is 0-3. It's definitely going to count as a warm-up sort of game for them. If they think they can steamroll through that, just get the blood pumping into their veins and have a really great showing to start the day off, that'd be great. For Singularity, do or die. They go into this, they have to win, and even if they do win all 3 games in a row, they will still have to go through a tiebreaker to be able to make it through to the next stage. So it's like, for Singularity, is like, okay, everything on the line, so I'm waiting to see something crazy from them, and I've been expecting to see things that they haven't showed yet, so since it's their last page on their book, let's see what they're going to bring.
And we have to look at the last time these two teams squared off. It was pretty much where Gilius was able to pop off on that Lee Sin. He got so far ahead, and he looked the best he's looked all tournament long.
Now, you kept on telling me, you're like, Gilius was like such a monster, you were such a beast on that Lee Sin. I agree 100%, but I do feel that Skrude gave him so much room to work with into this game, not playing through the recondition, which was a top lane onto the Camille. You know, the bot lane was bleeding with the Lulu and the Vayne, so he actually had to babysit there. I disagree, just let one lane sink and try to save your game through other priorities on the map.
Agreed, because you look at how that game was too. It was really that Gilius was gifted a lot of that advantage. In the bot lane 5v5 fiesta that happened that made it so that Kroghsen, he had a great, Shurima shuffle behind everyone on Schalke, was able to knock 3 people back, but it was too early in the game. He had no damage.
Yeah, you don't really want to be picking up fights with a Lulu, Vayne, Azir in the early game. It's kind of doomed, and especially when there's like a Lee Sin who's like swiping kills from all over the place. Like, oh, this is how it's gonna go. That's gonna be interesting.
All right, but we're pretty deep into champion select already. LeBlanc Zoe taken away from Sertuss, while Kroghsen never going to be a lad for Gilius. It's been his most played all year, and he's looked absolutely monstrous on that champion.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to see what the last ban will be here because Ornn Sett are both available. Sett is up and running. He's had 31 bans in the entirety of EU Masters. So this season only. So I'm expecting it to be sort of like a no-brainer to pick it top lane. I don't think anything counters him right now up there. And even if, sure, you give Ornn away, if Schalke want to play it pretty safe, then again, you get another way of playing through your top side. But Singularity think that maybe hard engage is the way to go for them.
That, or maybe they just don't think Schalke 04 are going to grab that too quickly. It is something that can be flexed. You know, Gilius could play it into the jungle if they wanted to. NukesAlot could play it support, sleeping top lane. With this Maokai locked in, I'm expecting it to be the tank, you know, the dog matchup in the top lane. Tank v tank, nothing really happening. This Varus, though, I actually do like that they're prioritizing Varus. Since Reje has played a lot of Varus himself, Neon's saying, you know what, we want to get something that's going to be able to scale and take down this Ornn if the game scales up long enough.
And it makes a lot of sense here because you can go both routes, whether the poke or the auto-attack Varus. But locking in the Maokai does give you the space to charge up that Rage Blade and then start pumping the auto-attacks in a team fight. So he already has that beefy front line, and I'm expecting to see a beefy support together with him in the bot lane to give him that room that he needs in the team fights for the Varus to shine. On the other hand, though, I do really like the Aphelios Thresh lane because you can go aggressive, but if things get south, you can also play defensive with lanterns.
Very true, and how good Thresh is at not only engage and picking people off, but also being able to disengage due to Flay and the box. It does make it so that this Tahm Kench feels a lot more like the option to be able to keep Neon safe, not having to worry as much about having a death sentence land and being the death sentence for Neon. Just going for safety. Bot lane does have opportunities of poke from the side of Singularity, but Schalke is saying we just want to be able to scale up into that mid game.
Yeah, and it's very weird. Usually here in Europe, we pick the Varus Tahm Kench and we play it very defensive. It's a Tahm Kench right there to save you if you take a wrong step, if you take a skill shot, if you get rooted, if you get stunned. So it's there to save the Varus. In the LPL, they're like, great, we're gonna pick Varus and Tahm Kench and dive you repeatedly. So I'm wondering to see which one of the two stories is gonna come out from Schalke here.
There's a lot of mid lane focus, though, trying to take away things that could dive on the side of Singularity.
Azir and Corki out.
Well, I know you're happy about that. I was about to mention that on the side of Schalke, they're saying, you know what? No late game scaling for you. Kroghsen's played a lot of Azir, these late game scalers, as well as the Xerath in mid lane. Pretty much things that are going to be able to poke and stay safe. Well, Lee Sin, the other champion that Gilius has been going to time and time again into that jungle outside of Kroghsen, gonna force Gilius onto things that are a little bit less comfortable. Might be the Jarvan just to be able to secure those early dives.
And I just don't get why Jarvan is not being looked at anymore. No one wants to put their hands on the Jarvan apart from Wisdom yesterday as a support AP, which I'm not gonna go further into detail. I find him such a strong jungler right now. He does have good matchups. He is really good into tanks, and he can go from lane to lane and collect flashes and summoners like no other. So I'm really wondering why not, especially when there's any mobile support almost every single game. The mobile carry every single game. So dunking onto that Varus could be it.
All right, well, looking over to what Singularity have decided, they did no Jarvan on either side, not going to go for the dunks, and it is Sejuani that Gilius went for, something that he does fall back to of his 3-champion pool that he does play. I wanted to see him explore a couple more options, but it is going to be something safe wall. Skrude instead goes for scaling option, says, I don't care if you're going to be that tanky, we're going to take this, we're going to take Sett. Probably going to be Ornn mid lane then, with the Sett top lane for Nille.
This is dangerous stuff. Both Singularity and Schalke are gonna have two compositions where they're playing with only 2 carries each. 3 tanks and 2 carries. So if one of the carries fall behind, then the other team is going to be able to move forward and accelerate into the game faster. The Karthus does take much longer to scale into the game, but I do feel that Singularity have better lanes for him in the early game. Ornn, yes, he's going to get a little bit harassed by the Cassiopeia early into the game, but the Cassiopeia doesn't have enough mana to sustain herself through all of these minion waves, so at some point he's going to have to back, and then the Ornn is going to be still in lane, building the items from there and pushing in the waves. That's going to give Karthus a little bit of freedom. Sett doesn't lose to anybody. I think we had this pinned anyway. Yes. And the Aphelios Thresh lane, I find it to be a very spicy thing to play versus the Varus and Kench.
Same here. I am actually looking at that bot lane as probably where we'll see a lot of 2v2 action. I don't think it's going to be the early ganks out of Skrude. As Karthus, you're not actually going to gank that early. You're waiting it out. It's going to be more onto Gilius and how he's going to be able to play that Sejuani. Last time these two teams played, it was Skrude on Sejuani, but didn't really get those early plays that you wanted to see out of that champion. Instead, it was on the onus of Gilius to set things up. I feel like that's going to be similar in this game.
Yeah, and you're saying we might not see much aggression. That's what I was thinking about Taxa as well. But then he got onto the Sejuani, and then he started being extra aggressive on it. So you might see that level 3 Karthus popping up somewhere. So don't be surprised. You do have the setup both with the Sett and the Ornn. So any of the 2 lanes could potentially work to try and accelerate the Karthus through the game.
And I do like that it is on Skrude to be the carry. You have this traditional frontline beefy ball of Ornn. Sett is going to be very tanky. He's always deceptively tanky because of his bruiser build. Then the Haymaker shield that he gets where he can survive for much longer than you think. Then having a Thresh on top of that to be able to pull him back in if he overextends.
And remember, Sett is what I would call a champion that's illegal right now. He's extremely strong.
So, okay,
yeah,
for people
I have an illegal list.
Hold on, Georgia. Before I was about to say, you have a whole list. She sent me notes before this saying illegal champions. That's big old letters, capitalized, bold, saying these are not allowed.
Sett's one of them.
So, okay, continue. I just wanted to tell everyone that this is why you're saying illegal champions.
Yeah. He is an illegal champion. I don't think he has any hard counters in lane. He has so much sustain, so much damage. He can dictate the way a fight can turn out to be. And in my opinion, he does provide a strong, hard engage. And together with the Ornn, Singularity do have the tools in their hands to choose when they want to fight in this game.
But in this top lane, Nille versus Sleeping's Maokai. Maokai is going to be very safe. It's very difficult for you to actually bully around Maokai. Grasp of the Undying to be able to stay safe even longer. Just going to heal up anytime Sat Magic's up too. Ooh, nice invade though from Sertuss, punishing Skrude. I don't think any chickens were secured though.
I think maybe one
yes,
stolen?
yes.
Maybe. But this is it, you know, if you can disrupt the clear from Karthus and set him even 1 minion behind, 10 gold behind, 5 gold behind, it does count because Karthus does take quite a while to scale into the game. You need at least the 2 items. 3 is the optimal that you want to start fighting with for these Requiems to really hurt. So I do like the commitment right there for Sertuss, since he had already pushed his lane to try and be a nuisance for Skrude in the jungle.
We're expecting Sertuss to be able to constantly push in Kroghsen. Right now, not working that way just because it is going to be difficult to get through the meatball without any mana for Cassiopeia. But soon, she'll be able to buy some mana items.
Ooh.
And I think this is what is allowing Gilius to now feel more comfortable going to the top side, expecting that Sertuss could always join in. Nille, trying to escape, doesn't flash away from the Arctic Assault, does flash away from the Bola.
Yeah, really dangerous stuff right there. You see that Kroghsen was already on his way towards the top side, but way too late. And Nille is going to have a pretty tough time right there on the top side because he has to be careful every single time now that he's burned his flush to not get caught. Oh. Just saying that though.
Yeah, a good amount of damage comes in from Kroghsen, saying, all right, I'm a better tanker.
From a tank?
It's early Ornn, you know? He's got those base damages. He's like, who's really
early Ornn doesn't get...
Who's the carry here?
Late Ornn doesn't get any worse, right? Late Ornn can kind of like sort of one-shot your ADC. So you're like, wait, is that a tank? Is that a carry? What is he?
I think a lot of people question that, especially in the early game when facing off against Ornn. Personally, I mean, I go for like Trinity Force Ornn and just try to make sure that I have a lot more damage, but everyone else tells me I'm wrong, and that's not how you build him. Why are you inting? I don't know. I think my build's fine.
Why are you inting magical though? That's the real question.
I'm still learning the game. That's the problem. You know, just learning how to play things and trying to learn the matchups such as Ornn right now. Gonna be pulled around by Sertuss. This is what I was saying. Once you TP and get mana for Cassiopeia, you can't stay out in this lane, Kroghsen. You're trying to be able to dodge away from a lot of the poison, had to flash over. Will be able to survive, but you gotta be more careful next time.
I like the way Kroghsen was trying to put his happy feet online right there to not get that flash burned on him, but greatly played from Sertuss right there, forcing the flash off of the Singularity mid lane, and now both the solo laners are lacking their flashes. That means that Gilius might have his eye onto one of them, and it seems to be the top lane.
Want to be able to utilize that melee so you can get permafrost stacked up a little bit faster, but with how this wave is pushed in, it's so difficult to actually dive Sett. Haymaker, that shield that you're able to get from him makes him so deceptively tanky, especially early on. So that's why Gilius is like, alright, it's not going to work out, let's back off, try to see what other lanes we can play around. The mid lane is still the one I have my eye on, since you were able to burn the flash out of Kroghsen. Makes it easier for Gilius to be able to go here with Sertuss having frozen the lane right outside of the turret range.
The problem right here is that both Kroghsen and Nille on the Ornn and Sett respectively are way too tanky, and this is why Kroghsen is allowed to play a little bit far forward. Oh,
yeah, he's gonna be safe though. Like you said, not actually too worried. Takes no damage from Gilius. It's Sejuani not really having that much damage to be able to back up, especially only with a Balmy Cinder. So, as you're saying, he feels pretty safe going up pretty far.
yeah, and I wanted to follow up with saying that all this time that Gilius has been trying to put the pressure onto Singularity, Skrude has been farming his lower bottom off in that jungle. 45 CS versus 28 from Gilius, and the Karthus is going great. He doesn't need to do anything, he just needs to be safe. He needs to know that the solo laners on the enemy team are where they should be, and this is in their lanes farming, and that none of his solo laners are in trouble, and since they're both tanks, they're doing absolutely fine.
Vayu though did take a bit of damage. He wanted to be able to catch out Neon. Unfortunately, Tahm Kench on the other side makes that very difficult. Skrude, Kroghsen looking for that Cloud Dragon, getting more ultimate cooldown for Skrude. More Requiem's going to be pretty good for them in the long run, but they're still looking for this fight now that you have level 6 for Karthus. NukesAlot has to flash over the wall, but too little too late. It's first blood for Skrude, and giving these kills to Karthus is going to be devastating for Schalke.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous right there for Schalke to try and contest the Drake. It's okay, it's just the first Drake. You can let it go, but they wanted to contest. NukesAlot was a little bit too far forward, and 4 men from Singularity sealed the deal right there. Of course, Singularity had priority in the bot lane. They had previously pushed in their wave.
I love this from Singularity. Contesting blue
Just some
buff.
love taps.
The thing is...
Yeah, just some love taps back and forth.
Too early! Oh no! Kroghsen!
No!
Oh, you let Skrude have it! What are you doing, man? He had it. He had the Skittle on it too. It hurts. It hurts.
Oh no, this is bringing flashbacks, okay? This is Gilius day 1 versus Movistar onto the Lee Sin where he did nothing. And we see the play again. NukesAlot is way too far forward from his team, and you see that Kroghsen again takes the way down the bot side river first, meaning that Singularity have more bodies on that bot side and doesn't allow Schalke to move in to try and contest. We see this a lot being done from supports, where they're gonna move first into the river and be like, we can contest, but they don't pay too much attention on who has the rotation in other lanes, and they end up paying the price.
In that bot lane, it's still Vayu taking a lot of damage. Hasn't been able to really go back and do much to survive in this lane. It's so difficult against NukesAlot's Tahm Kench, where he's just trying to be able to catch out this Varus, say, alright, let's get poke on you. Anytime he does, immediately gobbled up. Spit back out, they dish back the damage on to this Thresh, and it's a very interesting build from Neon. So early game, he's going to be able to get a lot of damage since he has serrated Dirk, but it's going to be hard getting through Ornn and Sett in the late game.
I'm really worried here because, yes, he is going with the poke Varus, but who are you going to poke? Exactly. I think he's dying also in that bot side.
Yeah, not really that great. So close to dying to the Moonlight Vigil. Might have Gilius who's going to be able to show up here. Who's spotted out by the control ward, getting a little damage. Ooh. Misses the ult and immediately dragged back with the Lantern. So a big cooldown now burned by Schalke.
Question Magical, did he miss the ult? Or did Reje really sidestep that? Because I think I might go with option number 2 here.
It's always better to go with option number 2. Say he sidestepped it, but...
Right, the flashy play.
It's a flashy play. Even if it had connected, there is cleanse for Reje. We didn't get to talk about that too much, so that this Aphelios is going to be pretty safe as Kroghsen has to use the Call of the Forge God, wants to be able to get the knockup. It's going to be hitting onto 2 members, but nobody's going to be able to follow up. Instead, the TPs are already burned, trying to fight. Look at the damage that is eaten up by Kroghsen. Had to flash away, but he has to get out of there. It's going to be the kill coming in from Nille, taking down one Requiem. Not enough to take down Sertuss. They still have to play around Nille dying to sleeping. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Going to be a little bit of an advantage in this mid lane to Schalke at the moment, but Skrude trying to make sure they're not going to be able to push in and get too many plates.
Great rotation from the bot lane of Schalke to be able to defend the team right there in the mid lane. The kill unfortunately goes to the Maokai, who is the tank. Sure, he's going to be able to get his tank items a little bit quicker in there, but the Sett getting the kill might just be a problem. And as we see in the fight right here, Kroghsen is fine. He's a level 8 Ornn versus a level 6 Sejuani, and they want to fight this. Skrude is already on the side, but when they see the teleport coming in and the Maokai flanking, he actually has to get out of dodge. Nille, sure, you're playing the Setts, but there's 2 carries repeatedly hitting on him, and I think he only has a Cutlass at this point, so he's not necessarily too tanky, and ends up giving 1 back.
Singularity, though, did come back onto the map a little bit stronger. Going to be able to take the Rift Herald. Shelly now going to be in the pockets of Skrude, so they can use that to crack open some of these turret plates. And I wonder where they're really going to want to play around, since they have swapped the bot lane into the top lane and vice versa. Do you expect to see them try to play around those plates in that top lane?
Since there has been this swap with the bot lane as being up there, I don't necessarily see Singularity getting anywhere near the tower yet, but you could potentially see to get a gank going either in mid or bot lane, where you have the setup with all that CC and then try to open the map. You see that there's also a plate missing from the bot lane tower, so if you can manage to get the Maokai going, Kroghsen though in trouble.
It's knocked up by the Arctic Assault. He wanted to be able to dash away from that one, unfortunately did not play it quite right, and he's going to fall, giving the kill over to Sertuss. This Cassiopeia going to start getting a little bit scarier as the mid game progresses. Vayu had to flash away from Chain of Corruptions in the top lane. So a couple of things burned, and it's going to be Schalke being able to get some stuff back on the map.
Okay, buddy, you're tanky, but you're not that tanky to be able to constantly tank through all that Cassiopeia damage when you stand by Gilius' Sejuani, and now you're also gonna lose a bunch of CS. He's already 20 CS behind in the mid lane, and the more that this Cassiopeia casts in, they called Skrude.
Looking for Skrude. You can take down the Karthus, that'd be nice, but they weren't able to get it, and they took so much damage. Requiem is gonna be enough to be able to take down Gilius. They use the Call of the Forge God to help out, so Skrude gets the Retribution kill in mid lane. The gank just not there with that dive.
Ooh, feels good, man. 2 kills onto that Karthus, 30 CS, make it 40 CS this point ahead. He's gonna cash in on all these turret platings as well. He's got the 2 kills. Talk about a Karthus that's accelerated into the game. 5,000 gold? What? Not even the carries have 5,000 gold from these teams.
That's who you want to have this gold, is your Karthus. They have got the composition that's going to be able to scale up, keep Karthus fed, keep him nice and healthy, and he will thrive and win you this game. Singularity need this victory. They want to be able to answer back, continue their run in EU Masters, and it's on the back of Skrude.
Skrude, or these AP carries in the jungle. I was expecting to see the Nille today. I was like, come on, it's do or die. If you're actually eliminated, do it. Oh.
Ooh, good flash though from Reje to be able to get away from that.
Still a summoner for an ultimate burnt. So SirNukesAlot sees the opportunity right there, and they burn the flash onto a very immobile carry. And next time Gilius Sejuani is around and hits one of these crucial ultimates, that could prove to be lethal for Reje.
This is where I almost wonder if he sacrificed Reje a couple times, because mid lane tier 1 down to only 1 turret plate remaining.
Are you suggesting they use him as bait?
I am suggesting they use him as bait so they can open up the jungle of Gilius. You already have a 2-level lead for Skrude on this Karthus. He has pretty much been gifted so much gold here in this game. continue to make it so that Gilius has to just play as the ult bot. He has to be as tanky as possible. Might even have to go Knight's Vow route just so he can buff up somebody else.
You know what? I like that. Use your ADC as bait and then get that Karthus going. The only problem right here is because Schalke is going to be very tanky in the late game. Oh,
ooh, good pick from Vayu. Will force out the Devourer, so they're going to have to stay safe. They even use Chain of Corruptions just to be able to survive that one. A little bit overzealous from Neon, stepping a little bit too far forward, but now that they have Sejuani and Sertuss rotating up, it is a good call coming in from Singularity to bail and sacrifice that turret.
And my thoughts at the start were, okay, this Varus goes auto attack, they're gonna have a problem versus the Aphelios Thresh in lane. Going poke though does give you the lane prior that you needed versus the tanks in the solo lanes from Singularity. So they do have a lane to play through, and this has shown.
Right now, bot lane, Nille looking to be able to pull back in, sleeping, getting a lot of damage. Try to go for Twisted Advance on Skrude, flashing over the wall as well, just to try to see if he can get him out, but it's Ornn on the other side. Cuts off his retreat using that ult. They're getting a lot of damage on sleeping, but he's still pretty tanky. Sertuss has been able to rotate down, try to see if he can get enough damage back on Nille. He has the shield from Haymaker to be able to keep himself alive, and sleeping, he's going to be sacrificed. Give the gold to Skrude, feed the Karthus.
Of course. 3-0 for the Singularity jungler right now, and this is looking up. These are the plays we were expecting to see from Singularity. Well, not these specific ones. I was expecting a little bit more, you know, action and proactivity, but why not? If they're gonna hand you in the kills and you're playing a Karthus, almost 7,000 gold in his pocket right now, I would take it. Leandro is almost complete. This is gonna hurt a lot because Schalke has 3 tanks in their composition, so all these skittles hitting them are gonna hurt a lot.
It's the feed me. Skrude probably in chat, in his communications and calls with his players saying, give me more gold. And they're like, we've given you 3 kills. Is that enough? Not enough? He's like, I should have 4 right now, damn it. Where was that other kill?
I want 5 actually, because the interest has gone up.
Exactly. They got to keep giving them kills. But this is where we have to ask ourselves, Schalke, their answer. They need to be able to stop this snowball, this train from rolling out of the station. Skrude has to be prioritized now to be able to shut him down.
Yeah, and the thing is right here that there's 2 already items onto Neon's Varus, and not Nille right here. I almost called him Nile. No, Nille has the Blade of the Ruin King, which means he can take the favorable trades versus the Maokai. And the Maokai, you see, is in trouble on the side lane. He cannot keep the Sett at bay.
Exactly. I love this from Nille. It was the bait in Champion Select where you thought it was going to be Ornn Maokai top lane. They're like, all right, we'll put Maokai. We don't have to worry about it. They're like, oh, nope, psych. We got Sett. We're going to put him top lane. Blade of the Ruin King has been a very popular build path with him. That does so well into these tanks. That's going to be able to completely annihilate him in a side lane where nobody can realistically answer him outside of Sertuss.
Yeah, and I think Sleeping right about now is sort of regretting picking the Maokai and not the Sett while it was open, knowing it was possibly going to be going against the Ornn, which he does win the 1v1 on. So, a lot of question marks, even on the draft, on why the Sett wasn't picked up from Schalke, because it can't be flexed into 3 lanes. But now it's Schalke's time to make a play on the mid lane.
Looking to see if they can crack open that tier 1. Should be able to fall pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly. Everyone backed off. It was a unfortunate recall time from Reje. So he wanted to be able to back off, contest this next dragon, because that will put them within soul point if they're able to get it. But unfortunately, it was a good read from Gilius saying, we have Rift Herald, we can pop that mid lane, take that down, then fight around the Ocean Dragon. That's going to be a lot more difficult for Singularity.
Ooh, this is huge.
Looking to see if they can get the call to Forge God. It's so low, but they're not going to be able to get in time to be able to steal that away. It's going to be Kroghsen in the middle of all 5. He's tanky, but not tanky enough to be able to survive. Being bounced around. He had to go jumping out of there. They even got the kill on the Vayu. The flash coming in. Skrude, so low, wants to be able to get in the middle of everybody, but he is shut down by Neon. An unfortunate fight for Singularity with Schalke being strong and concise.
And I think one thing that I figured out about Singularity seeing the second game last week was the fact that they kept on taking unfavorable fights. Schalke here make the play. They put the herald mid, they take the mid lane wave, they take the tower, and then they move into this river. You see, Singularity is absolutely blind. They don't know where anyone is from Schalke. Great positioning from Neon on the side as well, and a very deadly Gilius ult right there to seal the deal onto Skrude, and a lot of shutdowns cashed in, and now both the carries from Schalke are on 2-0. And remember, we said these carries need to get ahead because they're the only damage that Schalke has, and so far they're doing great.
And it is a about 2.5 item Varus with the lethality. He was able to annihilate Vayu, who's still working on some of these supportive items. Well, Thresh can theoretically get kind of tanky. It's too early in the game, so you take away Thresh, the one who can peel very well for either Skrude or for Reje. Now you have it in an easier time where you can easily dive into the backline. You can make sure to take out someone like Reje or Skrude. All the while, Sertuss keeps them zoned using Miasma. For Schalke, this is exactly what they needed to happen, because now they have wrestled back control away from that Karthus, who was starting to become a very scary threat.
Yeah, they read the situation really well, and when you put a team on a timer, so you give them a couple of seconds to decide whether they want to fight or not, this is where Singularity hasn't been doing that great. Their decision making has been a little dodgy, and you could see there as well, they were like, okay, we need to go for that dragon, because if we do get it, it will be soul on the next one. So they got a little bit greedy, and they paid for it.
And unfortunately, with that, it gives a nearly 2,000 gold lead over to Schalke ADC Evolution. They've got the driver's seat. They have where they can play, how they want to play. They've sent Sertuss and Sleeping into the side lanes. And
no.
Vayu, you're the one getting caught out here. You needed to be the one staying safe. He has to pop the stopwatch just to be able to survive. And I'm pretty sure that Flash is only going to make it so that he's a lot easier to kill next time.
Again, you have no reason of getting onto that side of the wall. You've got no vision, you've got no business. It's not yours anymore. You do not own it. You just sold it over to Schalke when you forfeit that fight down the dragon. So at this point, it is Schalke on the driver's seat, and it's looking really good for them.
It feels like when you're playing Monopoly, you look at the gold, you're like, okay, I have enough money, right? But you landed on the one property that they put the hotel on top of. That's how it feels right now for Singularity. So they had to pay so much to Schalke just to be able to survive. If they land on one more of those squares, that's game over.
Okay, I got you on that one. It's like when you have all of the really cheap ones and you've built a bunch of hotels on there, and then there's that one person that has the really expensive double blocks at the end. Oh, Vayu.
Yep, he's learning that he can't step on boardwalk. You gotta be careful. I'm taking so much damage.
He stepped onto the hotels.
Oh, snipe. There it is. Sniper gets the kill. It's a killing spree for Neon, and without the support, they're gonna continue to be able to play around that Baron, forcing away Kroghsen from trying to be able to deal, forcing out the ultimate as well, because they're all in this corridor, but it doesn't matter. Nobody can follow that up on the side of Singularity.
Yeah, they're gonna need Nille to join the fights right there if they want to reach the backline of Schalke, because Skrude and Reje are not gonna be able to reach anyone. They're gonna be on tank killing duty. They know they're gonna be on tank killing duty. That's why you see the Leandris coming out so quickly from Skrude as well. So someone has to be nuisance in the backline of Schalke if Singularity has any hopes of getting the first victory this week.
They looked good at first. They had a lot of kills onto Skrude and onto Karthus, but they've been struggling in this mid-game. They have to find a way to be able to combat Gilius on this Sejuani. He's been able to find the right picks necessary to then set up vision control all throughout the river, where nobody on the side of Singularity can really step out. You can see that Nille, who wants to be on split push duty, he wants to be able to fight sleeping, doesn't feel confident enough leaving his own turret that far out.
Yeah, and Sleeping has been playing this very cleverly. He's there, he's pushing his wave out, he's keeping up with the CS, he doesn't die to Nille, who is purposefully itemized to play against the Maokai as well with the Blade of the Ruin King. So you do see that even though it started going really great for Singularity, after that dragon fight, once they've lost vision around the map due to the mid lane tower going down, it's kind of hard for their carries to even move into their jungle. Karthus has lost any agency on the map. It's really hard for him to go and take his his camps. And of course, reje, without a tower or an immobile Aphelios, you cannot step too far forward.
I'm almost imagining Schalke can go onto the Baron and try to force a fight here out of Singularity. You leave a Cassiopeia alone with any objective. You saw how fast that dragon went down. The second ocean dragon of the game, given over to Schalke, it went down so fast to a Cassiopeia. Sertuss put so much agency and so much importance on having to contest these objectives because it could take only a matter of like 10-15 seconds for Cassiopeia and the team to be able to get the Baron.
Yeah, you can just allow the Maokai and the Cassiopeia into the pit, and I think the Baron could be going down really quickly. While you've got the rest of your team sort of, like whistling around the map, like nothing is going on. Like these little cartoons where you get a little jog around and you whistle and you're like, no, there's nothing suspicious going on here, nothing at all. On the other hand, Schalke can actually bait Singularity into check-in because this dragon could be going down if Singularity do not check in often enough. And how many times can you face check without dying?
You saw Vayu both times he face checked, got chunked down so massively by Neon. He even got sniped out. He's gone for the locket build. He wants to be able to help out the team, but it means that he's that much squishier and that much more susceptible to dying to lethality Varus. Every single time one of these Qs lands, it's more than 25% of his health. Look at that. Bam!
I think Neon has personal beef with Vayu because he is only trying to poke him, and only when Vayu is not inside, he's like, okay, I'll heal reje as
right.
well.
Look at that. He's got like this target on the back of Vayu. Anytime he sees Thresh, he's like, kill Thresh.
Oh boy. They're doing it.
They are. This is what I said. That's the problem. You give Schalke enough time with that Baron, it's going to go down so quickly. It was only 2 of them on that Baron. It's down to 25% health. The fight from Singularity might be too little too late. They're going to try to see if they can blow up Gilius, but he can't with that Requiem. Not enough spell pen just yet, and Skrude, who's jumped on by Sertuss, immediately killed off. Cassiopeia going to be able to slither out of the fight while Nille in the middle of 3 members. Trying to take up what he can. Goes back into the back onto Gilius as well. Might be able to get the flash. Flashes forward himself. Takes down the jungler. Going to make it that much more harder to be able to get the Baron. But the rest of his team not doing so well for Singularity. They're all getting chased away. Poked out by Neon. Looking for the snipe as Nille able to fight back against Sleeping. Taking out the take himself.
1, 2, 3. Punch, and Sett keeps Singularity's dream alive. Nille on that backline, keeping 3 people at bay. Maokai, Cassiopeia, Gilius, Sejuani. Have a look at Skrude. He's trying to sneak in, but then the positioning from Neon on the other side is keeping the entire Singularity at bay. And then, of course, Sertuss is going to try to kill the Karthus after the Requiem has been popped, and it literally took maybe a sliver of health off of Gilius, but look at that. Nille dives in, dispatches of one tank, then slowly dispatches of another.
This fight is perfect for Singularity. Even though they do lose Skrude, the fact that they were able to get 2 kills onto Schalke, and one of them being Gilius, makes it so they can't go back onto that Baron. They stay alive and give this gold over to their split pusher onto Nille, where it was Skrude before being the one that they had to try to rely on to carry them. They can now set up a different playbook. They can go for a 1-4 where they put Nille on a side lane and always make sure that the Baron is not taken by Schalke.
Yeah, and even though I do like that scenario and I'm all up for the 1-4, unfortunately you cannot group together your 2 carries because that means they're gonna share gold and they're gonna share experience. And the game-winning moment, the fight-winning moment for Singularity right there was that Sett and the ultimate and him diving in on the backline. So for the time that it will take him to teleport to the time that he's actually joining the fight, it gives a lot of room to Schalke to sort of position themselves around that. Oh,
maybe this is why Singularity are looking for the fight. They wanted to be able to get the pick onto Neon, but they couldn't. Wild Growth is going to be able to keep them at bay, not letting them get that much further. Reje is going to be able to heal up. Sertuss has TP'd into the fight to just zone everyone away. They get the pick, but it's only onto Kroghsen. Nille jumps back in. Showstopper does so much damage. Here comes Requiem. Is going to be able to burst him down. No, goes golden first. Can they jump onto Sertuss and be able to take it for Cassiopeia? He flashes back to stay with the team. Sleeping in the middle of everyone. He's not taking enough to be able to survive the onslaught of damage that comes in from Nille on that Sett. Oh, and still going for the fight. I'm surprised that they haven't just backed off. They got the pick onto the tank. They do pick out Gilius as well, getting so much damage. Gobbled up, saved. Nille now taken so low. Has to use the Haymaker to be able to get the shield, but you can tell that this Cassiopeia is on a rampage. Shut down, immediate turn onto Ocean Dragon.
And Singularity just doesn't know when to stop. Neutral objective is coming up, and even though Singularity was 2-0 up in Dragons, it's now Schalke collecting the third this game. You get a pick, you move this into the river, you establish some vision, and you play it from there. Great start from Singularity to start this fight, because they know that the Varus is in a very dodgy spot for him, and then they play out this fight great. Front to back, they have their tanks, they have their carries. Gilius misses the ult because it only hits the tank. A great ult coming in from the Sett. Is that a 3-0 Karthus ultimate? It did nothing to Schalke. And look at that, there's 4 members onto that Maokai, and he almost kills reje. So this is where you back off, because you can still see that the HP bars from Schalke are not going any lower. Get that vision, try to contest for the dragon. Instead, they lost another member and the dragon.
Completely agreed. They needed to back off in that fight, having gotten the pick. That could have been Singularity turning it around, but with Nille getting himself caught out and then the kill over to Sertuss, this Cassiopeia 4-0-1 already has the Seraph's Embrace with Leandri's Rallies. Not only is she going to be doing so much damage, you're not going to be ever able to escape her.
So here's where the problem lies. They both have 2 ADs that can output a great amount of damage. Sure, you can say that the Aphelios is going to pump more consistent damage because he's playing the auto attack build, which most Aphelios play, and Neon is on that poke build. Great, but that Cassiopeia is a tank killing machine. Singularity.
They're looking to see if they can kill the tanks while they can. Vayu wants to be able to jump onto Gilius, but he's going to be able to get back to the team. Nobody wants to join this fight just yet. Nille is actually going to back, try to use an empowered recall where he TPs in to be able to fight instead. Just going to be a simple recall, because Schalke understand that. They say, we don't know where Sett is. We don't want to fight this yet.
There we go again. Rinse and repeat, magical.
I think this is the strategy Schalke should consistently imply, because it goes down so quickly to Sertuss. It's only 2 of them, and it's down below 50%. Try to see if Nille can get in the middle of it. TP in from sleeping to be able to disengage. Nille cannot get close to this Cassiopeia. There's a little bit too much damage. Try to flash in, but look at the damage that comes in on to Singularity. Skrude in the middle of it. Wants to steal it. He gets the steal, but they gotta survive. They've lost Skrude. The flashes come in over the wall. Requiem looking to see if it can find the kill on anyone. It's only gonna be able to get the tank. Everyone else trying to get away, but Nille is gonna be the one that might have to sacrifice himself. He gets a lot of damage back on Neon, but not enough to be able to pick.
Oh boy. Singularity gets away with murder there. Skrude surviving on a sliver of health. This is insane. They managed to do enough damage to the Baron while Skrude was on his last legs, gets the smite, and now this is the breather that they needed. They needed that Baron to try and push out the waves, get some more vision, pushing that vision through their lanes so they can spread it around the map as well. Oh boy, did they need this Baron. Good move from Schalke as well, but Skrude with the steal coming in clutch.
That's the hard thing about dealing with Karthus, because you might be able to kill him, but he sticks around for a couple seconds longer after
He's
death.
never dead.
He's
magical.
never truly dead. With this Baron, Singularity keep themselves in the game, but they have to be able to contest this Ocean Dragon. Not only that, they have to have Kroghsen not get caught out by the 2 members on the side of Schalke.
Whoa.
Taking away the tank is going to be really nice. No way to get out of this one, Ornn. I'm sorry. You tried your best, but Sertuss is unstoppable.
I mean, did you really need to commit the TP right there from Sertuss?
I don't
feel
think
like
so.
Yes, they did need the damage, because you saw how Neon was going really low, trying to kill that Ornn. Remember, the Ornn is stuck in defenses, and Neon is playing on that poke build, so his auto attacks are not going to hit as hard and as fast. So maybe it was needed, but now you kind of cannot use your Cassiopeia on a side lane, and you have to group up if you're Schalke, something that Singularity really wants into this game, having the heavy engages from Kroghsen and Nille.
Schalke might be looking for a pick instead, try to utilize the Sejuani. They can fight around this Ocean Dragon. It will be Ocean Soul if they can secure it, which would make them nigh unstoppable. They have the poke build already, and they could always disengage to heal back to full. Singularity are forced to try to deal with this. There is no TP from Kroghsen to be able to get here quick enough.
Yeah, still 15 minutes left, but if you're gonna play around that pit and Neon is just free to shoot arrow after arrow after arrow and get you low enough for when the fight starts, which is now.
Oh, they're looking for the pick on Skrude. The best way to get that Karthus out is to kill him outside of the pit. Nille had jumped back onto sleeping, but that's the tank. You're alone with him while your team is against the carries. You have to be able to try to see if you can peel back off and save your team. Look at the damage that comes into Kroghsen and Vayu. Not enough to be able to kill them, but enough to be able to dissuade them from trying to fight further into Schalke, who have control around this dragon pit, and they want the soul.
And that was a very awkward fight by Nille right there. He takes the Maokai out of the fight, sure, but then he's the one that should frontline for his team as well, and it's not happening. Oh boy.
Oh, Vayu takes way too much damage. That locket shield is not enough. They are looking to hunt you down. Snipes gets the flash. Vayu will barely be able to stay alive, but it's an ocean soul. It was all a bait hail of blades, hail of arrows. Gets the kill for Neon with Gilius fighting in the middle against Kroghsen. Tank v tank. The wet noodle fight that everyone loves to see, right? Am I right? No. But they're all going to be able to get some help. Here comes Neon to be able to finish off that kill on the Kroghsen. He has a little bit of damage himself, but it's still dominating. Varus 6-0-6.
Okay, if we can get a replay on that, Kroghsen swapped to smite and he had flash. So he wanted to flash into the pit and smite that away from Gilius, which he could, because he's one level up on Gilius. Didn't end up working for them. They lose too many members and all the pressure is onto them right now because Schalke are not here to play games. They want to be the favorites. They're the #1 from the Prime League and they're showing what.
They want this victory. They have to get this to be able to stay dominant in the group. But it's going to be a fight still put up by Singularity. They don't want to go out quietly, getting a lot of damage on Sertuss. He's going to be able to flash and get that Sertuss shield, but not enough for the Haymaker to pick up the kill. Everyone else is gone. They've lost. The flash comes in from Nille. Will be able to get the shutdown onto Sertuss, but everyone else on your team is dying. Vayu inside of his own base is gone. Requiem not going to be able to do enough. Nille was surviving for so long. Continues the survival, but it's only for a while longer. He will finally fall. Sleeping will get the credit. There's nobody left except for Skrude and Kroghsen, but they really don't have enough to be able to stop Schalke from being able to get into the space, even though they're going to try valiantly in their defense. It's so much damage coming in from the side of Neon. You can tell Skrude, who's too squishy to be able to deal with that Varus, falls. Kroghsen by his Nexus turrets, only waiting for the inevitable.
And Singularity again, they take the unfavorable fight, and look where that has got them. Kroghsen, last breath.
Last breath.
It's all or nothing.
He wants to do what he can. He's saying, we can fight back. Fight with the last breath that you have. You have your tournament hopes riding on this one game, and it's looking like it's going to be all over for them. Schalke will be able to take these final kills, and the final victory will be theirs.
And a little bit too little too late. Double kill for reje, but unfortunately, it's all set in stone. I felt like, again, Singularity just don't seem to be finding their footing. They had the great strategy. They had a great strategy. Kills went to the person you want them to go, and then it all went downhill from there. That one dragon fight that they shouldn't have taken, but they really wanted for that soul point, and it all went, unfortunately, south for them.
All unraveled off of that one play. For now, we're going to toss it over to a quick break, and when we come back, Trouble and I will break down this game further and talk about how Schalke were able to pick up their first victory of Day 7.
Magic. 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 Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready. Witness true strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Welcome back into European Masters. We're here to break down that last game between Schalke 04 Evolution and Team Singularity. And you and I, Triple, we both agree that game came down to one unfortunate fight for Singularity.
Yeah, and it's this one that we're seeing right now. Schalke with a great macro play right there. They unleash the Herald in the mid lane, which pushes down the lane. And then they're the ones that have priority and vision into that river. Now, I can't say that Schalke for sure knew that Singularity were gonna face check that, but I'm gonna assume they did, because Singularity are very prone to want to fight where they do not have the advantages, and they didn't there. They didn't have the advantage, they didn't have the vision, they didn't know nothing of what was going on in that river. The Ornn ult completely misses, and I think if they didn't get the memo with the no vision, I think the missed Ornn ult should have given, you know, the idea that maybe we shouldn't be taking this fight.
Right.
And I think from there on, it was a downhill struggle for them.
It was, and you can see this fight too. It was the Ocean Soul, Kroghsen. He did switch to the smite, you were right. He tried to get over the wall, he flashed, and it was a miss smite. It was one out by Gilius. He was able to smite first and take it. It allows them, though, to stay at the top 3-1 now in Group C, where even though it was a difficult game against Team Singularity, who sit 0-4, they looked very strong and they understood what they needed to do to be able to come back in that game against Singularity, using Rift Herald, being able to fight around the dragon. Honestly, all those plays were the right call for Schalke, whether there's a fight or not.
Yeah, and it seems like that they know their footing, you know. You hit your enemy where they're the weakest. And they knew that Singularity do take these decisions. They just want to fight all the time, whether they can or they don't. They were ahead. They had the 3-0 Karthus. They were like, great, if we get the vision in here, they're just going to walk, because we know about that. And to be fair, I need to give props to Singularity, because they did look pretty strong in the early game as well. But Schalke are going to sit very comfortably on that first place, at least for the start of the day. And the #1 seed from the Prime League seems to be going strong, because no matter if they fell behind against a 0-3 team, they were able to come back. They recollected themselves and they knew exactly how to execute the strategy.
The next game we have is going to be very interesting. Movistar Riders versus Kick Neosurf. Only one of those two teams is going to be able to tie it up with Schalke 04 Evolution, and I want to get your opinions before we toss it over to break. We'll just get a quick idea of what you think this match is going to be like.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I want it to be like, and that is not a stomp that's decided by a Rift Herald fight.
Okay, that's
Other
fair.
than that, I'm open to all options, Magical.
That's very fair. We have seen this group be a very interesting one. Group C has had elements where teams want to scale, they want to be able to get further into the game, but then they fight these weird early fights where they snowball before the 20-minute mark, and it's usually over by 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was like a 22-minute game that they played, and they both had like super late game scaling teams, but that little kindred in there made the difference for Kick, because they also had that early game element that was able to snowball everything else.
Well, we'll find out if that's going to be the case, if they're going to be able to snowball, or if it is going to be much closer. When we come back, it's going to be Movistar Riders taking on Kick Neosurf to try to see who's going to tie against Schalke 04 Evolution.